Welcome back to the third episode of the StepBrothers. I'm Wesley Clark here with Andrew Hayden. The final week of college football coming up here in the regular season. We have the game coming up on Saturday, big noon. Also, game day gonna be there. But Andrew, you excited for this one?
Of course I am, man. Best week of the year. This is what we both look forward to every single year. You got Thanksgiving, nice little break, spend some time with some family, then the best game of the season. It doesn't get much better than this.
No, it does not. Across the board with sports. I mean, this is the biggest rivalry in my opinion.
Yeah, no,
Basketball,
no argument
baseball.
here.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I see some people talking about. I do like the Navy Army rivalry, but and also Auburn and Alabama, but it's just not the same.
Oh,
They don't
well,
get
oh,
it.
college football, the game clears. But if you want to talk like Red Sox, Yankees, then I think that's where we need to be compared to. Auburn, Alabama, that hasn't been relevant in years.
Right, exactly. And the thing is about college football, because when you compare to Ohio State, Michigan for college basketball, they play twice a year. But for football, you play
Mhm.
once a year and you
Game.
wait one exactly. There you go. Anyway, so we're gonna just quickly go over, our games that we had this week. Both teams got the win going into, week 14. They kind of did the job, both of them, covering the spread. But for Ohio State, just beating up on Rutgers 42-9. We kind of expected that. I had them covering the spread. They improved to 11-0, 8-0 in the Big Ten. Caden Curry had a big day on the defensive side. Bo Jackson had 100 yards. Julian Sayin didn't do much. He didn't hit the 200-yard mark. I think he just had over, I think, 150. Yeah, 157.
Yeah.
Had two touchdowns, one to Max Clare and also Brandon Innes in the first quarter. They started off slow. The score, it showed that it was 14-3 for a little bit, and that was actually because Bo Jackson had fumbled on the opening drive, but he ended up having a nice day. Isaiah West, another true freshman, 61 yards, one touchdown. CJ Donaldson, who hasn't got a lot of playing time, he came over from West Virginia. He had one touchdown when they were close to the goal line, but he has struggled a good amount this year. But Max Clare, the transfer from Purdue, I believe is a 93 overall in college football EA. I think he had a day, and he had a lot of shoes to fill because, the big story, or at least one of the big stories in college football was Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate did not play.
Yeah.
This is Carnell Tate's third straight game not playing. He didn't play against Purdue, didn't play against UCLA when I was there, and now doesn't play against Rutgers. So that's the worry in Columbus for sure. And during that UCLA game, you saw him limping.
Mhm.
He exit in the second quarter, so they didn't play, and you saw that maybe that caused some inconsistency with Julian Sayin. I don't think that's an excuse. He only passed the ball 19 times, 13 for 19. But Max Clare, 105 yards on seven receptions. He had a nice day. And kind of what people expected Max Clare to do,
Yeah.
transferring from Purdue. But I'll tell you, this team won't win the national championship without those two wide receivers.
No, I mean they won't have the same shot.
No,
That's
no,
for
they will
sure.
not.
Yeah.
No.
Max Clare. I'll just touch on Max Clare. I was expecting him to be a lot more productive this entire season, I think. I'm sure you were as well. So good for him to see him finally stepping up. I know some other guys went down, but next man up mentality. And I mean, I think you see how good of a it's clear how good of a player he is. So
Yeah, and on the defensive side, they did their job. That one touchdown that was scored is when they were up 42-3. So it was
yeah.
the backups coming in, and that's the majority of the touchdowns that have been scored this year have been against the second, third string
Yeah.
defensive teams. So that's a good look for first teams because that's now moving forward. You're not going to see the Bryce West, the freshmen out there, getting time here on out, it's going to be, the Kale Downs is going to be there, out there 100% of the time.
Hmm.
Sonny Styles. So they kind of got rest going into the fourth quarter, and Caden Curry has stepped up as a senior, and senior day as well. So you got to celebrate those guys, and that's why it's kind of disappointing as a Ohio State fan. You don't see Carnell Tate out there for senior day because this will probably be the last time he was going to be in Ohio Stadium unless they host a playoff game. So it's disappointing for sure. But I mean, overall, like the spread was 31 and a half, and they just did what they had to. There's really not much to say, going into it. I mean, Rutgers just struggled big time, and you're definitely just a lesser opponent.
Hmm.
But one thing I did see that I enjoyed is Lincoln Kienholz played a big chunk of this game,
Yeah.
and I think he's going to be playing against Michigan with some run packages that they wanted Devin Brown to have a couple years ago. He ended up getting hurt. Finally have that with Lincoln Kienholz, who is not scared going into defenders, and you saw that against UCLA when he played. He had some nice throws, so you
He's
might
a
be see
big
that.
dude.
Yep, he is. But yeah, so Ohio State winning 42-9, and yeah, just kind of I mean, they've been getting right this whole season, and maybe this was a time to try some different things before
Yeah.
going into the last week of the season.
Sure. Yeah. Get guys healthy. Probably conceal some things on film also. So that's good that you're able to do that. Obviously, I know you don't have your two biggest offensive weapons, but um, yeah, good to see. I don't know if you can call that like a trap game. I don't think Rutgers is good enough to really trap any good team, but to see the same level of focus, I think is what you want to see if you're an Ohio State fan. So
Yeah, a trap game for the Big Ten. I mean, Washington comes to mind, Illinois. I mean, that's not even a trap game. That's straight up. That's just in general. You might lose that.
what? Oh, you're talking about like
Like games
potential.
where you're kind of looking for like looking to next week. Indiana's you
Yeah,
can't look to next week
yeah.
because
Used to be Indiana, not so much anymore.
no, it's not. That's right. Michael Penix when he was on Indiana maybe,
Yeah.
but Michigan, they had a solid game. I got to see some of it, and definitely impressive overall.
Yeah. Finally, I didn't get to watch this game live until a little bit into the third quarter, so I didn't see all of it. But then I watched a lot of it afterwards. So Michigan 45, Maryland 20 was the final score. Now Michigan sits at 9-2 with the chance you would think to play themselves into the college football playoff. We're going to talk a little bit about some of those Big Ten championship scenarios in a little bit and how that could potentially be a factor here. But yeah, overall, I would say it was the most complete offensive performance. And on last week's episode, that's what I said I wanted to see, right? Like we've had yards, like another 400 plus yard game from the offense. We've been able to do that multiple times this year, but can you translate it into points? 45 points on the board. I would say that is absolutely what happened. No turnovers. I know Bryce Underwood was looked pretty comfortable for the most part. Only threw it 23 times, but had 215 yards and two touchdowns. So that touchdown number is something that's been low, for Bryce and the entire offense this season. So to see him have two touchdown passes, kind of a kind of an omen to this game and how finally some of these sustained drives are able to be turned into points. There was one throw that Bryce Underwood threw. It was the most wild. I have no idea what he was doing. The throw slings it sidearm off his back foot, and it would have been a pick six, but it just goes. The defender literally caught it and then like it dropped it. I don't know, but so we're just gonna pretend that didn't happen. Zero turnovers on the box score. That's what we're gonna go with. And yeah, some other contributions. Obviously, Justice Haynes has been out for a few weeks now, but um, Jordan Marshall had previously stepped in. I was thinking going into this game that we might see Jordan Marshall. He did warm up, but he warmed up with like the fifth. He warmed up as like the fifth running back, so I think he was maybe like in case of emergency type of situation. So, former walk-on Bryson Kuzdal, our running back three, has 20 carries for 100 yards and three touchdowns. I mean, if there's anything I've learned this season is that one, Tony Alford is a great running back coach. Thank you to the Buckeyes for that. And this running back room is deep. I mean, there's guys, even O'Meara, who most Michigan fans, including myself, have. do not know much about, but he came in and played well in garbage time. Jasper Parker, the true freshman, had a touchdown as well. So really, just that next man up mentality for this running back room has been huge. And I do think we're going to get Jordan Marshall back for the game, but Bryson Kuzdal is going to have some run, and he's definitely going to have a role. So that's good to see that we can count on him. Outside of that, more usage of the tight ends. Zach Marshall and Marlon Klein had multiple catches each. That's something that I've been wanting to see. I think Michigan's in past years and even this year, Michigan's best offensive teams and performances are when the tight ends are involved. It's really just in modern football, like great passing offenses have great tight ends. They have those safety blankets over the middle. And so saw a little bit of that. Andrew Marsh, I mean, this kid is absolutely special. 5 catches, 75 yards, a touchdown. He had his touchdown catch was through pass interference, over the shoulder in the end zone, absolute dime from Bryce Underwood. He has the most yards of any Big Ten receiver since October 1st. And he didn't play really he wasn't a starter until week 5, I think. I think it was maybe Wisconsin that he got his first start. So to see him come onto the scene, I mean, I knew he was special as a recruit, but to see him come onto the scene and provide Michigan with an actual receiving threat, not something I was totally confident in this year. Um, and then yeah, so I think the offense, this was the absolute, confidence boost that was needed that we had not got yet this season. I mean, if this was another 2-point win against an inferior Big Ten opponent, I don't think I feel nearly as good going into this week, but finally being able to put some things together and put a good performance on paper, I'm really happy about that. And now, you got to flush it quickly, right? That was a great performance, but now you got to go prove it against a real test. So,
Right. And that Purdue game, again, Northwestern, that's why, you talked about that, hit on that
yeah.
several times the last couple of weeks. That's just a huge question mark because those are, I mean, Northwestern's solid, but Purdue is, man,
Mhm.
that's where it's like, wow, is this, I don't want to use the word fraudulent, but that it's scary, when you only win by single digits against
Yeah.
Purdue.
And it's, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
You,
Andrew Marsh, it's good to see like another Big Ten receiver like that just ball out. Big
yeah.
Ten is in general has had really good receivers, have really good receivers in the NFL, and hopefully we got another one coming out of the conference.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to see. I mean, he's only a true freshman. That Bryce Underwood to Andrew Marsh connection is gonna feed families for years to come. And I'm excited to see what other kind of talent we can get in that room to pair with him. I think that, that there is some potential in this Michigan passing game for sure. One thing I have on here that I didn't say is I didn't have any other notes about the defense because I think our defense is solid, not elite. But I think our issues come from a schematic perspective personally and not as much a personnel perspective. Like we have a ton of young guys in the secondary, but still, Wink Martindale, man, if I see one more zone blitz where it's not even like there's no type of stunt, no type of disguise. It's just a linebacker will just run at the quarterback. No one is even close to getting home, and the middle of the field is just it's empty because you just vacated the hook defender that'd be playing there. And you're not fooling anybody. Any good quarterback and actually bad quarterbacks this year
Mhm.
have found just wide open shallow routes in the middle of the field. And I promise you, Julian Sayin will be able to pick apart those just bad zone. I mean, I could go back there and play quarterback, and I have zero idea how to read coverage. I have zero idea how to play the position. But if you throw those type of blitzes at me, I can throw to a hitch in the middle of the field. I promise you I can. So
And
stop
that's what
giving me.
Northwestern was able to do.
Yeah, every team this year has been able to do that. It just doesn't work.
Mhm.
And last year, the game against Ohio State, schematically, it was the most simple game of the year, right? You play coverage, you let your front four go to work. That's this. I know we don't have Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant, but it has to be. We just have. You can't just hand like Ohio State is too good of a passing offense already. Like we're gonna have our hands full. You can't just hand them easy completions. Like that's not a recipe for success. So yeah. But other than that, this was the first game of the season like against a Power Four team outside of New Mexico and Central Michigan where I didn't have like just a identity crisis after the game for this team.
What about Washington?
Yes, that one too.
Because
You
that to
know,
me that was your best defensive performance. Maybe this one against Maryland was offense.
yeah, I would say so. I mean, this defense performance against Maryland was good, but I don't think Maryland is nearly as potent of an offense as Washington's is, although they've been a little shaky against actual good defenses.
Yeah.
But yes, you have a good point there.
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, and then obviously after this one, if you're looking ahead at just as a college football fan, is the Big Ten Championship, which will be at 8 o'clock on December 6th. So so just the outlook on that in general is wild when you see the possible
Yeah.
outcomes for that. Obviously, Ohio State undefeated right now. Most likely scenario will be them against Indiana. But we will see because I mean Oregon, it still has a chance to get in, which is crazy to me. Um, but I mean, if you're looking at this, and we kind of went over the possibilities, you know, I mean, the tiebreaker rules for just to go over real quickly, it's head to head, obviously, win percentage versus common conference opponents, and then common opponents in order of finish. So those are the one, two, three, and then of course, that's why Ohio State and Indiana are first right now because of the the record in general. But then number two is Indiana, Oregon. But then if you scroll all the way down to number six, which is kind of funny, is Michigan versus Ohio State. They have a possibility of playing each other in back-to-back weeks
Yeah, there is a possibility. It's a slim possibility.
because Purdue has to beat Indiana, obviously, and that's
Boilermakers.
why. Yeah, exactly. And when if I'm thinking about the championship games just across college football and the matchups that they have, Indiana is the one that is seems like they're just in it already. I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean they're playing Purdue and it does yeah. And they're off a bye too. Is Purdue I don't know if Purdue is also off a bye, but it doesn't feel like I don't know.
but
You never know, but I don't think scenario six is gonna happen.
no, because I mean, think about the SEC with Texas A&M. Georgia has to play Georgia Tech. I mean, Georgia Tech obviously just lost, but they're not Purdue. But in that same situation scenario, Michigan will have to beat Ohio State to obviously tie the record between the two. Uh, Washington beats Oregon. So that is the possibility. But for Michigan, they're they obviously have to win, and that's last year they didn't that was the problem. It wasn't a win to get in, but so you're looking for your first Big Ten championship. Obviously, you guys were just there, but looking to kind of keep that streak alive.
Hmm. Yeah. Obviously it's a lot more fun to be playing meaningful ball in November this year, something I missed out on last year. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and Ohio State hasn't been there since 2020 when they had Justin Fields,
Hmm.
and they were on a little streak there. Then it flipped over to Michigan, so we'll see if it's back and forth between Ohio State and Michigan.
Yeah.
But I mean, just in general, like I mean, Indiana to me, I mean, we'll get into to their games and their game this week, but they're very complete. I understand that they had that game against Penn State, but when I'm looking at these scenarios, like they're very complete. And Signetti is not he's not messing around. Like he is
Yeah.
fully dedicated to changing this program around. He signed that extension for 11 and a half per year, and if I'm any of these opponents, Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, I just Indiana is I not someone you want to face. And when Ohio State was playing in the Big Ten championships, and maybe even Michigan too, when it was more the East West, the
Hmm.
East it just it wasn't competitive.
The
I mean
West.
yeah, the West. I mean when Ohio State played Wisconsin in 2014, that it was 56 nothing. But now it's you have to
And that was actually before I mean those in like the 2010s. there was like Wisconsin was decent, um,
Hmm.
but like for Michigan's run in 2021 to 23, it was Iowa, Purdue. Like it was once you beat Ohio State, that you pretty much had
You
the
kind
Big
of, yeah,
Ten champion.
exactly. And that's the thing. Once you got past this game, you were pretty much the champion of the Big Ten
Yeah,
because, and then Ohio State had played Northwestern, during that COVID year. Northwestern gave them a run for their money, but it just, they couldn't keep up in the second half, and that's kind of how like it goes against a team like that.
yeah.
But I'm trying to see here at Oregon. So Oregon and Indiana do not have the possibility of playing each other. Oh, yes, they
No,
do. Number two. Sorry.
they do.
Yeah, number
Oh
two,
yeah, oh
Indiana.
yeah, yeah. That's actually pretty. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I guess that's the second
I heard you wrong, but yeah, that is the second most likely.
most common scenario. I guess because uh, I don't know why you guys losing to USC wouldn't be number two, but maybe it just comes down to the common opponent. Oh, because Oregon beat USC, that's why.
Yes,
Yep. So
and they had a
Indiana, well, like the overall record wouldn't matter.
no. I think it's also based on record of conference opponents. So
Mhm.
Michigan, like USC, is Michigan's best conference opponent. Oregon has Indiana on their schedule. So
Does
they,
that matter if they lost though?
what?
Oregon lost to Indiana. So
Yeah, 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 but
does
it
that
still
even
matters.
count?
Like it's just the whichever one that is like the combined record of conference opponents. But yeah,
Gotcha.
that's all the way down to
Oh yeah, see,
four.
number four. Yeah, so I mean, that is almost last resort. If
Yeah.
something, if because for this one, I mean, for between you and Oregon, it's just number two.
Yeah, so you're right. Yeah. Conference opponents. So USC beating Michigan and then Oregon beating USC is what settles that.
Yeah, so for that would be Indiana beating Purdue, Michigan beat Ohio State, and then Oregon beats Washington.
Oregon would get in.
Yeah, see, tiebreaker favorite Oregon due to the best overall record of conference opponents. There it is. Yeah, three-way tie, obviously, between Ohio State, Oregon, and Michigan. So, I mean, I always enjoy the Big Ten championship. To me, I think I'm hoping that because of what Indiana is doing, Ohio State and Michigan being competitive, Oregon joining the Big Ten, this is now it's turned into a competitive game. It's like I just said, like it
Yeah.
wasn't for years because obviously saw, Georgia and Alabama going playing each other back to back in one year. Maybe we might see that in Big Ten now because it's top heavy.
Yes.
It's
Yeah. Very top heavy.
very top heavy, especially with the one and two teams being from the Big Ten, and then sprinkled around is Oregon and Michigan, who
Hmm.
are very competitive. But I mean, what are your thoughts on? I guess I'm just going to put it out there. If you guys played Indiana, what I mean, and if that happens, we obviously will go into it. But looking at that now, how do you win that with that defense?
Um, I don't
Same
know. I mean,
recipe
I
if
guess
you beat Ohio State?
the thing is with like the 12 team playoff, there's just a lot of like, okay, let's play the scenario out. If Michigan beats Ohio State, goes 10-2, Washington beats Oregon, now Michigan is playing Indiana in the Big Ten championship. Like, Michigan loses that game, are we now vulnerable to being left out of the playoff? Like I guess that's with a new format with automatic qualifiers. Like I think that's something you can't really know for sure yet. I don't know if I want to be like the guinea pig there because I do think we'd be vulnerable. But if you're talking about like, okay, let's say we do get in and you're playing Indiana, I feel fine with that actually because I think our roster matches up
Better than it does against Ohio State.
similarly. I mean, like in terms of execution, I think Indiana is better coached than we are, and I think they like I would obviously not like obviously Indiana would be favored, but I'd feel decently confident going into that game. I mean, we should have beat them last year. It's a
I
25 point loss on the road.
I I am curious if what the spread would be. It's 9.5 right now between Ohio State and Indiana. Ohio State would be favorite probably against Indiana by 3.5 on a neutral site. So you would probably be looking at 6,
Yeah,
About 5.5.
it'd be less than we are underdogs to you guys.
Yeah, yeah, for
And
sure.
that's a home game.
Because Ohio State would be favored against Indiana.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
So I'd feel, and I want to like I know people are like feel differently about this. Like, well, we'd rather not play in the conference championship. It's basically like a bye. Like, I want to go play for a conference championship. That's my mindset. Give me the best teams in the country. Let's go play Indiana and prove ourselves. Like, I think that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, to me, I'm under the impression. I mean, if you're going to a conference championship, especially if you're in the Big Ten and the SEC, if you're in the conference championship, one, you're probably only had your two loss team tops
Tops, yeah.
in general. So I think to me, that should be an automatic bid in a way to go to go to the CFP.
Just being
I
there.
just being there because why that just
Yeah.
dilutes the
Why penalize a
purpose of
team for,
playing
yeah,
an extra game. You play 13 games. You won the same amount as in this situation. If you beat Ohio State, you win the same. You would what? You would win the same amount of games, right? Yeah, you would.
yeah, 11 and 2.
As the opponent you just beat plus one more game. Like it doesn't make sense to me that is a discussion that people
And
have.
you,
It's just unfair because I enjoy if you want to get rid of these games, you just get rid of the games. If it,
yeah,
if Michigan goes to the Big Ten championship and loses to Indiana, who would be number one,
right. Yeah, you'd be
then
playing the number one team in back-to-back weeks.
why would you play that if you're Michigan? Like if that end up happening in the near future,
Yeah, that would set off some.
opt out.
Yeah.
And fans have already been asking for that. Oh, why play the extra game? I mean, I love playing in that in
Hmm.
it's a championship game.
Yeah.
So I mean, I enjoy watching it. I want my team in it. But if it really hurts teams, and like we've talked about the ACC, if a team like Duke made it and lost, then no, because they already had four losses at the time that we were talking about it when
Yeah.
they were still in the ACC championship. I mean, there is scenarios where they can get in, but not likely. So
Yeah.
that's only kind of the
It's
situation
like,
I'd be fine getting out. But in this
yeah.
situation, you beat Ohio State, number one, you're in. Like, there's no way. There's just no way.
I think the way I feel like it should be is if you're ranked outside of the top wherever you need to get in at large, like top 10, right? If Michigan beats Ohio State this week, we'll see where they fall. This is recorded before the CFP rankings come out. So I think they'll be probably 15 is where I think they'll land. I would think they would get into the top 10, probably maybe at number 10 with the win over Ohio State. That's what I think. Um, I think if you're in that at large spot and you play in a conference championship game, I don't think you should be left like be able to fall out. But if you're already on the outside looking in and you're playing to get yourself in, then you know what I mean? Like if you're ranked
Yeah.
13 and you lose, let's say in a close game, especially if you're in like the Big 12, right? Like let's say BYU. BYU is at like number 11 going into the game against Texas Tech and they lose. Maybe they sit around like 11 or 12, but that still doesn't get you in.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with that. And the thing is, if a situation like this where a team's looking in and they beat a top opponent, I mean, your two losses are against. I mean, USC is ranked. They are out now, but that was away. And then an Oklahoma team who has been great. I mean, they had a small little slump there, but they just had a nice win against Alabama.
Yes. Yeah.
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 So
Absolutely.
and so in that situation, I 100% because then if you're not, then get rid of the Big Ten championship.
Yeah.
But
And we'll see. Like I think a lot of it is just like it's gonna take multiple years for us to see how things play out and how they handle different scenarios. Like last year's the first year of the 12 team playoff and the group of five team is a three seed with a first round bye. Like did anyone expect that to happen ever? Probably not. And I know we have straight seeding now, so it's a little bit different. But I think a lot of people there's a lot of just hypotheticals, and I think that having more experience with the 12 team playoff will give us a better feel for how things are going to be handled.
yep. And all four teams who got a bye end up losing in their first game.
Yeah,
So I'm glad that has changed. But I mean, like a team like Georgia losing to Notre Dame, that's different. But obviously, Arizona State, they're playing a tougher opponent, having a bye against Texas. It's just, it just didn't make sense,
Texas would have
and
had the
that's
bye.
fine.
Yeah,
That's exactly, and that's fine that it worked. That's how it worked the year one. I mean, everyone's just trying to get a sense of this whole thing,
yeah,
so that's just how it works. But that when you go through it once and that's how it played out, it was it was just tough to watch. I mean, because
yeah.
Ohio State and Oregon shouldn't have played each other immediately.
Not that early. No.
Exactly. And that as an Oregon fan, that was probably sucked because you're having to play. You beat the Ohio State by 1 point at home on a
Yeah,
neutral site. They were they were going to be favored, and that ended up happening. Ohio State got their second shot at them, and it paid off. But let's go through these Big Ten games. We're going to go through them very
yeah. Let's
quickly,
do
and
it.
then get to the game. So noon CBS Iowa 6.5 at Nebraska. Dylan Raiola is not playing. He's out for the year. I'm gonna go for Iowa covering the spread. Like it, that's easy for me. Iowa has a good defense.
Yeah. Hmm. I'm gonna disagree with you here, actually. Something about this game just feels like Nebraska to me. At home, I know they just got blown out by Penn State, but Iowa came very close to losing to Michigan State last week. And I don't know, something I'm at least taking a Husker cover here, and I'm thinking about taking them straight up. So
Okay.
that's how I
Yeah, so
feel.
that's at noon. That's on Friday, November 28th. And then Indiana is at night, 7:30 at Purdue, 28.5. I mean, we've been talking a lot about Indiana
Hmm.
and Kurt Signetti. There should be no reason why they don't blow them out here. No reason why they shouldn't do that. Purdue is 2-9. I know it's 28 and a half. They they won by 35. They've been doing that all year against these opponents.
Yeah, I agree. Cover the spread, easy pick.
Yeah, so then now 3:30 FS on FS1 Wisconsin at Minnesota. When Ohio State played Minnesota, I just didn't like how they played. Wisconsin just had a nice win against Illinois. I am gonna go with Minnesota. It's 1.5, so I mean it's tough to cover the spread there. So I'll do a Minnesota covering spread.
Yeah, this is actually a tough one to pick. Wisconsin's been pretty hot recently. Minnesota's been cooling off. Obviously, tough week last week against Northwestern. I think I'm going to take Minnesota too here, though, at home. I think they're just a better team overall, and I think that's just how it's going to play out.
Yeah, and Minnesota that getting 7 wins with the way some of these games played out would be just huge for them. And
Yeah, keep the
good
bowl streak alive.
exactly. So Minnesota covering 1.5. 3:30 BTN Penn State 12.5 against Rutgers. I mean, seeing how Rutgers played against Ohio State, and Penn State they like Terry Smith. Their
They're rallying behind him.
players
Yeah,
the fans were chanting for him. The players had like I think printed papers
they
like
did. Yeah, they had posters. Yeah, I
yeah. So posters of it said hire Terry Smith. Is that what it said?
think so.
Yeah, something like that. So I'm going with Penn State covering the spread. Yeah, I'll do. I think that they have recovered from this disastrous year, losing to Oregon, firing James Franklin. We had them losing against Michigan State. They won by 18. So I think they're going to beat Rutgers by more than 12 and a half.
Yeah, I believe they're 5-6, right? So they need this to be bowl eligible.
Yep. Yes, they do.
I think they get it. I think they cover here. I think Katron Allen runs all over the field in this game.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean they have looked solid for what they've gone through this
Yeah,
entire
still
year.
a top talent level team in the nation,
Hmm.
like
Yeah,
across
for
the
sure.
board.
A lot of their recruits, I know they're probably worried when you fire a coach like James Franklin. Several of their players came to Penn State to play for James Franklin, so there's been a couple of decommits, and a lot of
Yeah.
them were at the Virginia Tech game when they hosted Miami this weekend. 7:30 FS1, Maryland at Michigan State, 3.5. I'm gonna go with Maryland here.
Yeah. I this is actually I don't know. I'm gonna go Maryland too, just because why not? It's little bro. Another with the vacated wins, what is this gonna be? Fourth straight winless Big Ten season? So
Yeah.
sure, yeah. I'll pick Maryland here.
Yeah, it's been tough for Michigan State. I mean, there's two teams in the Big Ten that haven't won a game in the conference, and that's Michigan State and Purdue, and I think that continues. Maryland's had a tough year, but they had some bright spots in a way against you guys.
They have a
So,
decent passing game.
they
They
kept
can
their
move the ball a little
coach.
bit.
They're committing to NIL. Michigan State is terrible. So I'll pick Maryland. Are we covering the spread here?
Or
What do
we're
you think?
picking them
Three and
outright. Are you picking Maryland outright?
oh yes, 3.5.
Yeah, Michigan
Yeah,
State
Michigan
favorite at
State's three
home.
and a half. That's right. Which so they think that this team, I guess 3.5. I mean, that means they think they're even.
Yeah.
Uh, which I mean, I guess that makes sense. NBC 7:30 UCLA at USC 21.5. I have UCLA covering here.
I am also going to take UCLA to cover. I think this is the type of game where you see maybe a bit of emotion left over from last week. You know, your season's pretty much over, right? Like, and they wanted to play in the playoffs. They don't care about whatever bowl game they're going to end up in. I think this is one you see maybe just a little bit of a underachieving day from Lincoln Riley's team. So I'll take UCLA to cover here, but USC
Yeah,
to win.
yeah, USC 95% chance of winning on ESPN. Nico Iamaleava is not he's not bad. He's definitely when in that win streak he ran the ball very well, and I think he's going to try to do that here. He did come back. They're 3-8 against 8-3 USC, and then 7:30 Northwestern at Illinois. The, I actually kind of am going to enjoy if I watch this game. I think I'll enjoy it. Northwestern,
Northwestern at Illinois.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think that this is going to be a good game. Who's going to win? I think I'll go with Illinois. I think they'll bounce back from what they just endured from last week.
endured. Yeah, getting basically blown out by Wisconsin. Um, I'll take Northwestern to cover, Illinois to win.
Yeah, I'll do that too. I'll do. I just
Northwestern's a decent team, man.
Illinois has been out for a while, and it was a big reach for them to make the playoff. They didn't really expect that. I'm sure the players didn't expect that, but they do expect to have an 8-win season. They had a good finish last year when they beat South Carolina in their bowl game. I believe that was the Cheez-It Bowl.
Yeah, I think we both predicted that at the beginning of the year, right?
Yes,
Illinois
yes.
to take a step back. Yeah,
Yep, we did. Uh, so then game of the week.
yeah.
This is gonna be fun to watch. 3:30 CBS, Oregon at Washington. Oregon has to win, and Washington has had their number the last 5 years when they're in the Pac-12. Beat them twice in the same year.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to take Washington, but I just don't think Dan Lanning's gonna allow their team to slip out of the playoff here. They went by 6.
Yeah, I think playing in Seattle, playing at Husky Stadium, not easy. That is a tough place to play, and Oregon has struggled there. I think Oregon is just a lot better, though. I was kind of on the fence about them. They really proved how dominant they can be against USC to me. And I think Washington, even though they're not ranked, is somehow still like a little bit overrated. I think they've just absolutely folded against every half decent team they've played, and they lost to Wisconsin. I think this is going to be probably maybe a 21 point win for Oregon, something like that.
Yeah, Washington, I mean, looking at their wins, I mean, they beat Maryland by 4. They crushed
I
Rutgers. I mean,
forgot about that too. Yeah.
they got blown out by Michigan and Ohio State, lost to Wisconsin, blew out Purdue and UCLA, so it doesn't really mean much. So you're right. I mean, they definitely Joe Klatt. One of them in the rankings, they were ranked, I believe, 24 for 1 week on
They
the
were,
AP
yeah,
poll.
I think it was like 23, something like that. And then that was before they lost her. I don't remember when that even was.
I just think that this is more of a spoiler, and I've just this to me has been seen so many times in college football. A team like Oregon, not probably not gonna. I mean, well, as of right now, they're not in the Big Ten championship, and they're gonna probably assume we're not in it. So we kind of have to just do our job to just make sure we at least get in the playoff. But Washington, I mean, spoiler and try to get 9 wins. I would not be surprised if Oregon blows them out, but I will be openly cheering for Washington to win this game.
Well, I will too. And well, I'll either be watching, depending on what happens in the hours leading up to this game on Saturday, I will be either wearing Husky gear, cheering for the Huskies, or I'll probably just not be watching. So
Yeah. Either way, no matter what
I
happens.
think Oregon is just a far better team.
And the thing is, when they played USC, they USC just couldn't keep up. USC not bad at all, and you could tell. And they had their mistakes, but they could not keep up with Oregon. They're very consistent with their offense, and their defense just is good enough to just to swallow opponents
Yeah.
and to suffer them. So
Is that I know we're running through and we can move on in a second, but real quick, do you think Oregon is good enough to win a national title?
no, not this year. I do not think Dante Moore is good enough to lead a team to a
Really?
title. I don't think he has the experience. His talent, I mean, if the guys around him played outstanding, yes, talent itself, sure. Experience, no, hell no, absolutely not. I think how we saw him against Indiana, no. And I've seen him shaky in big time drives this year, or at least important drives. And he just there's the experience level to me is the huge problem for him. And I when you got to have that quarterback like that. I mean, Will Howard, 5th year senior, that's a perfect example.
Yeah.
AJ McCarthy, tons of experience. I mean, those guys had it's a serious thing that you need as a college quarterback.
Yeah.
And Dante Moore, he sat behind Dylan Gabriel, who's was probably you probably learned a ton from, but it's nothing like actually playing in big games. And if you're down the South and you have to deal with a Georgia crowd, if you're in Atlanta, there's just no way that I can see him doing that.
Yeah. I actually think that the 2023 Oregon team with Bo Nix was more of a national title contender than last year's team that went undefeated and won the Big Ten or this year's team.
Yeah, I mean, because you saw them, obviously, Boise State made it, but you should have Boise State shouldn't have been as close as they were, or at least giving them as much trouble as they were on
No, I'm talking about
the offensive side. No,
right, but that
I know
was
what you're saying. I know what you're saying. But I'm just saying, like for the 2024 team,
that game.
because
That's right.
they went undefeated as well.
Right, right, right.
But yes, Bo Nix for sure. And the thing is, he was also very experienced. He was at Auburn.
Most experience, right? Actually didn't I think Dylan Gabriel broke his record for like career
Yeah,
starts or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But Dante Moore, to me, I mean, that Indiana game, they he struggled big time in the big moments. He's
Yeah.
probably, and I know in the middle of the game when it's way less pressure, he's great. He's good, and that he has the talent to possibly win a national championship. But there's so much more that you got to have in your closet to be able to win.
Yeah.
Go on a streak like that because it's not like last year. If he had, Oregon 14 playoff, they would have been the number one seed. We can win. You only got to win 2 games. Not anymore.
And Ohio
Just
State's not in it.
exactly.
So,
You don't lose to Ohio State. You don't get blown out by Ohio State. You don't have to play them twice.
yeah.
And you play, I guess who? Well, I
Georgia.
mean, you either play. Yeah, Georgia would probably be the
I think
national
Oregon would have
championship.
beat Georgia last year.
Really, the question would be if Notre Dame and Oregon against each other. I wonder how that would look.
Well, Notre Dame wouldn't have made a 14 playoff last year.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just saying, like if they played each other, I wonder if I think Notre Dame would have won
Hmm.
against uh, Oregon because you saw Genty kind of run all over them, and that's exactly what Notre Dame did
Yeah. Do you
to
think
to their
Jeremiah
opponent.
Love just would have gone ballistic?
Probably. I mean, he definitely would have played better than he did against Ohio State in the championship. I think he had 4 yards before the last drive of the game,
I think that's right. Yeah.
which is pretty wild. But yeah, anyways. So Oregon, Washington, Oregon's got to. I mean, if Oregon wins, we got to move on. But if Oregon loses, they're out.
They're out of if they
Do
lose
you
to
think?
Washington, you think they're out of the playoff?
Do you think they're out?
It depends on what happens with other
I
Tennessee
guess I
teams.
guess that's true.
Like is if Vandy beats Tennessee, then yeah, they jump Oregon. If Michigan beats
especially well,
Ohio
actually,
State,
if
they would
Michigan beats
jump
Ohio State, I
Oregon.
think they're out because that would be
Yeah, that'd be
3 teams. I mean, it would be Ohio State, Indiana, Michigan that would win if Michigan beats Ohio State. So I think that
yeah.
they'd just be done. So they just got to take care of business. But anyway, let's move on to the game. Ohio State
That's
versus Michigan. Week 14. It used to be week 13, but then we added the extra bye. The most anticipated matchup every single year, especially the last probably 10 years, when Jim Harbaugh and Urban Meyer were going against each other.
hmm
Saturday, November 29th, big noon. Big new kickoff is going to be there. Game day is going to be there. This is huge for both teams. Ohio State trying to get into their college football playoff, Big Ten championship first time since 2020, and Michigan has to win to get into the CFP.
Yep. Yeah. Obviously, a lot at stake. More at stake for Michigan than Ohio State in terms of the national landscape, but with a 4 game win streak Ohio State's definitely feeling a lot of pressure as well. I think I think I think I'm more excited this year than I have been for any Michigan Ohio State game ever.
Yes, and
I
we,
don't
we
know.
talked
It just
about
feels like a lot of juice.
the comparison of the last couple of years, what it means for Michigan in this game compared to years past. You have to win, and that's what I see. You have play with emotion because they have. I mean, that's the thing with Michigan. They know they have to win to get in, and I think that is going to help them
Yeah.
at least in some aspects of this game because Ohio State did. I mean, they're in now after winning 11 straight games,
Yeah.
but Ohio State has to realize that this is a little bit different from last year. Ohio State was already in. Michigan was just trying to, kind of fuck with them. Oops.
That's okay.
Good thing this is YouTube and that you know, FM radio. But
Yeah. Good thing.
this year definitely important for Michigan because I mean, you go to what the 3 straight college football playoffs, and then you didn't make it last year. Sharon Moore trying to prove that he's that type of coach.
Yeah. I think early on in this year, especially after the USC loss, I was thinking about this game like, we're building towards a future, like we're building towards something great with Bryce and some of the young players. I can live with whatever happens in the Ohio State game, knowing that I think we're still 1 year away. Like I still think we're not a national title contender this year. Like I think that's pretty obvious. But 2026 and especially 2027, I think we're absolutely in that conversation. But now that we're here, no, I want to win, and I'm expecting a win just like I do every year. And I know the players feel the same way, right? Like they view this game with a lot of them are new to the rivalry, which I'll get into, but everyone on both sides knows what this is about at this point, and they prepare for it all off season and during the season, and I think you're going to see both. I think you're going to see both teams' best this game, which I'm just excited for. It's going to be a great football game.
Yeah, for sure. And then having that home field advantage is huge. I mean, for Ohio State,
Yes, yeah,
going kind of through their strengths. I mean, this is obvious comparison for Ohio State against any team. I think they would be favored against any team because of the talent, who they have on both sides, how Julian Sayin has played the entire year. Assuming that Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith play, they have, came out today, kind of recently, a couple hours ago, that they're trending in the right direction. They're gonna play. Like I
They're
think
gonna play
Carnell
as long as they can walk.
and they have been walking.
So there you go. I would expect
Uh,
them to play. I would
and
definitely at
Jeremiah
least expect Jeremiah Smith to play. I don't
Jeremiah
know how
Smith, yeah, that's right.
serious Tate's injury is, but
Jeremiah Smith played against UCLA, and they kind of I figure that they knew that they had Rutgers, which I hate that mindset. I want him to. I like the way that they treated the UCLA game. Go out there and just make sure we have this. He had an opening drive, one-handed catch, scored immediately with Bo Jackson, and you figured you had the game in hand. I wish they did against Rutgers, but just keeping them healthy for that, for just in general. I mean, you talk about watching this game in general as like a unbiased fan. That's the type of game you want to see with Bryce Underwood, first time playing in this matchup against Julian Sayin, first time starter, and then also seeing the top Andrew Marsh, upcoming, superstar against
cinema.
already superstar Jeremiah Smith. So just across the board for college football fans, it is important to see everybody healthy uh, for just college football and its viewership. And I mean, this is like I said, game day and big new kickoff coming to watch us.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I'm really excited just for the build up too. Like that morning with game day and big noon kickoff. Like I'm excited for all the theatrics and obviously I'm excited about the game more than anything else. But like it's just gonna be. I mean, what is better? Like there's nothing better. Like just as a college football fan, like everyone will be tuned into this game on Saturday. Everybody.
yeah, no, for sure. We can get into some, you know, keys to victory, but we want to think that, you kind of had the idea, just go position by position. We obviously know our team a little bit better,
Yeah.
but we can do that. I mean, starting with the defense, Ohio State secondary versus Michigan secondary. Secondary, very young for Michigan. Ohio State a little bit more on the veteran side with Jermaine Matthews Jr. being a redshirt sophomore, Davison Igbinosun being a senior. I don't know if I don't know a part of Michigan's defense, it's probably the secondary, and like you said, it is young, so that's why like it just to me, I'm you're gonna have it's I'm unsure about this one because I would assume, I mean, with the way that Ohio State secondary is playing, it would be Ohio State
Oh,
in
you'll
this.
give the edge to Ohio State, and I think the part of the way you can't name anybody on Michigan secondary is an indicator that Ohio State is a better one.
Right, and you obviously have Caleb Downs if
Yeah,
he's not
we're factoring that in. Yeah.
yeah, as a safety possible. He is in the first round pick. If he's not the best player on the defense, it's Oliver Reese. But I mean, at some some experts have him as the safest pick going to the draft. I mean, he's had a phenomenal career in college. OSU linebackers versus Michigan linebackers. I mean, I'm assuming this is Ohio State with Sonny Styles and Arbor Reese.
Yeah, I would, but I think this is actually
Okay.
closer than the secondary.
Okay. Why?
Michigan's linebackers, I mean, they one super deep room. I mean, Ernest Hausman, Jay Sean Barham, if you want to count him, although he plays mostly edge, but he takes some reps at linebacker. Ernest
Okay.
Hausman did not play, he didn't travel to Maryland last week because I think he had some personal thing going on, but he tweeted
Interesting.
after the Maryland game. I think the exact tweet was like he said something like November remembers, hashtag the game, and he's like, I've never left, hashtag the
Gotcha.
game, hashtag go blue. It had me ready to just run through a wall. Um, and then Cole
So
Sullivan and Jimmy Rolder are two guys who will probably be Michigan's starting linebackers next year. Also have played and just had a great season. Jimmy Rolder had a defensive player of the week performance against Michigan State in the Big Ten. Cole Sullivan is a young guy who's been hurt for a few games this year, but I think leads the team in interceptions. Definitely leads the linebackers in interceptions. And then Troy Bowles and Nathaniel Owusu-Boateng are both young guys who have been coming up and they've seen a lot more game reps too. I don't know how much of them you see on Saturday, but I'm really excited. Sorry, I rambled there. But yeah, I will take Garvell Reese and Sonny Styles over our linebackers.
Yeah, the depth for sure. Michigan is very solid, and when I'm comparing to their secondary as well, also their experience, that's probably this is a huge factor. Like I mean,
Yeah.
what we just felt like for an hour talked about Dante Moore and why he can't win a national championship because of experience. Same thing here with Michigan linebackers. So OSU D line, Michigan D line, very different from last year just in general because there's guys on both squads playing now on Sundays.
Hmm.
Now here for OSU, Keanu Jackson Jr., Caden Curry, those are not household names, but still very good.
Yeah, still good players.
Caden McDonald, he's someone that it will be in the first round inside.
He is a giant,
Uh,
dude. It is actually insane.
yeah. So Michigan D line, what do you think? Tell me about it.
Yeah, I would definitely give Ohio State the advantage on the interior. Like it's really hard to replace Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant, both NFL players, like you said. And we have a lot of depth on the interior defensive line now. We filled it with some portal names like Trey Williams from Clemson, Damon Payne from Alabama, but just not the same level of like disruptor, if that makes sense. Like we have depth and there's not a lot of drop off from first to second string, but it's just not the same kind of like game wrecking play on the interior. I do think Michigan's edge rushers are better than Ohio State's though. Derek Moore, TJ Guy, Jay Barham. I think the edge this team is similar to the 2021 team with Hutch and Ojabo, where the D line is led by the edge rushers. I think that this team kind of fits that same mold. Obviously, we don't have Aiden Hutchinson, but I think that the edge rushers are have the advantage there.
Yeah, so I guess we can get to Michigan. Another name for Ohio State for people to look out for, Edric Houston. He was a 5-star, and he's had some temper issues. He got benched, in fact, for it. Uh, he did have kind of an injury, but he got pulled off the field
Was he the one that got hurt in camp, ball camp?
like a week. He's like rolled his
Yeah,
ankle.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's exactly what it is. But yeah, Edric Houston, very solid. For the offense, Bryce Underwood, Julian Sayin. I mean, it's going to go to Sayin. I mean, his completion percentage is on pace to break it. He's 25 passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Doesn't can't run like Bryce Underwood. That's one thing everyone obviously knows. But when it comes
Yeah.
to passing, this guy's elite so far.
Yeah. Bryce Underwood's a better athlete, but Julian Sayin is way more polished as of right now.
Mhm.
So I'm really excited about the future for Bryce Underwood, and I think it's like your Michigan fans are watching him grow in terms of his ability to lead a team and be a true quarterback. But as of right now, Julian Sayin is a Heisman finalist for a reason. I mean, he's having an insane year, so we'll definitely give that edge to Ohio State.
Yeah, Julian Sayin, 70, I think that 79.4 comes to mind was completion record. It'd be beating Bo Nix when he was at Oregon. That's why Lincoln
That's the
Key and
record. Is that
Link
is that what he's currently at?
79.4 is what he's currently at. Bo Nix, it was at 77%.
Hmm.
So he would be breaking it by 2% if this obviously kept the trend going. He has fallen from the Heisman race. I don't think he's going to win anymore because of his last 2 games. He's been under 200
Right.
yards.
You still think he'll be a finalist? I think he'll be a finalist, right?
Depending on how this game
Yeah.
goes. I mean,
Yeah. True. True.
if he is at the 78 plus completion record and mark and wins, and it's just kind of a normal day at the office for Julian saying, yeah, he'll go, but he's not going to win it. I think he'll go Fernando Mendoza right now. But the last 2 games without Jeremiah Smith and Cardinal Tate, it hasn't worked out last
Kind
2 weeks.
insane.
And there was actually a host on 97.1 for it, which is the local broadcast for Ohio State sports in Columbus. And the guy said, "Here's the highlight reel of Julian Sayin without his top 2 receivers," and it was nothing. So it is well known. It is just And no diss out to him because he's very young. I mean, this is his first season actually playing. He
Yeah,
got very little snaps last year. Devin Brown was the backup QB. Julian Sayin was the third string.
right.
So it's just how it goes. I mean,
Right.
if
No,
he,
I give all credit to the kid. I mean, he's
Mhm.
playing unbelievable. And I
Yeah,
think he only threw the ball 19 times. Like he was 13 for 19.
yeah.
I've seen a lot of Michigan fans on Twitter jump on him about his performance. I'm like, well, let's slow down. I don't want to have a bunch of people talking about how Julian Sayin all of a sudden can't play football anymore, and then Saturday comes and he's the game of his life, because I see it. Like I'm like Doctor Strange looking into the future right now, and I can see that happening. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
lay off of that
Yeah, it's
that
very
narrative.
possible. It's very possible. And the one thing that stands out with Julian Sayin is just his composure. I mean, it was scary how calm he was against Texas because I wasn't calm, and I didn't. No one trusted him, and and they didn't open up the playbook for him because
Right.
Ryan Day,
Yeah.
he was suspect of how this kid was going to play, but he's proven himself for sure. OSU running backs versus Michigan running backs. I think that has been the bright spot of Michigan this year. Bo Jackson, Isaiah West on the Ohio State side. That I will say that this is Michigan's going to get have the better running backs, but right now Ohio State is playing their best run game. The narrative on the national radio and TV was the reason why Ohio State's not going to win the national championship is because they can't run and can't run like last year. Well, you're not going to replace Travion and Quinshon Junkins. But
Yeah.
Bo Jackson, Isaiah West haven't played well, but Michigan running backs all year long have been very solid.
Yeah. Definitely an edge to Michigan here. It hurts that Justice Haynes isn't going to be playing in this game. I think maybe he's played his last game in a Michigan uniform. I hope not, but it's kind of looking that way. But still, Jordan Marshall and now Bryson Kuzdal has proved to me that he can step up when it matters. So I think Michigan has the advantage here.
Yeah, and the good thing for having the better running back room, the last 23 g games between Ohio State and Michigan, the winner with the most yards, the team with the most yards has gone on to win
Rushing yards, yeah.
rushing yards. Yep. So that's a good edge for to Michigan that they have that.
Yeah.
OSU wide receivers, Michigan wide receivers. I don't think there's anyone in the world that would not have OSU at number one in the country, really, to having the best wide receiver room. I mean, it's this has been the bright spot since Brian Hartline has come back to his alma mater, where he was a wide receiver, a standout for the Buckeyes when he played with Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. I mean, even having Bryson Rogers is Brandon Innes. He's been very solid these last couple games, filling in for Carnell Tate in that slot and Jeremiah Smith. But Andrew Marsh, he's definitely
Yeah.
that guy for them as a true freshman.
Yes, he is. Yeah. Love Andrew Marsh, but yeah, in terms of overall depth. And I do think at the beginning of this year, I didn't think there would be a single player on Michigan's roster that would start for Ohio State. Now I think Andrew Marsh would actually be like a wide receiver three at Ohio State.
Very possible over Brandon Innes,
Yeah.
who has struggled at times, but maybe that's because he hasn't been there consistently. I mean, he's extremely overlooked. Very solid, but Andrew March definitely becoming, one of the stars for the Wolverines.
Yeah.
OSU tight ends versus Michigan tight ends. Bennett Christian and Max Clare. They're good. But I mean, Michigan also. I mean, you have to inform me because Michigan's had solid tight ends over the
Yeah.
years.
I think Michigan, I don't even know who Bennett Christian is, if that's what you said. So I think Max Clare is the alpha out of all the tight ends that are gonna be on the field. So just for that, I would still lean OSU here probably. But Marlon Klein finally, he had the most receiving yards on the team in that game against New Mexico. I think he had 91 yards, something like that. Got hurt, kind of fell off, but you saw some flashes from him. He had a nasty hurdle against Maryland. It was sick. Zach Marshall is a young guy who's really stepped up. I didn't know how capable he would ever be as a pass catching tight end at Michigan, but he's really stepped up. And then Deacon Tonelli, someone who has played limited snaps, but he's played solid in his run. So I think Michigan's tight end depth is is solid, but I'll still give the edge to Max Clare.
Yeah, the reason why I mentioned Bennett Christian because he is very good at blocking.
Mm,
He's not that guy like Max Clare that's going to have 105 yards in a game with 7 receptions. Him and Jelani Thurman, who I forgot to mention, he was a third ranked tight end in his class when Jelani Thurman came in. Their blocking has, I mean, you put them on the line, they're blocking better than the O line
hmm
for Ohio State, and that leads us into the offensive line between Ohio State and Michigan. Offensive line to me is better than last year, but I can't imagine that with the way that Michigan has had the O line at the last 5, 10 years that they wouldn't get the edge here.
Yeah, I agree. And Joe Moore semifinalist, they've really, I think, some injuries have actually kind of helped the coaching staff put the right combination of guys out there, and they've just continued to get better. They're really good in run blocking. Pass protection has been maybe a slight issue. It's been improving, but that's part of the problem when you have two redshirt freshmen at left tackle and right tackle. But yeah,
Right.
I'll give the edge to Michigan.
Yeah, and obviously that O line, it's no coincidence that we pick Michigan running backs and then pick Michigan offensive line too. It just makes sense, and you look at that from high school ball, college, and NFL. I mean, Saquon Barkley is the prime example of what it's like to have an offensive line
Yep.
from
Yeah.
mid-tier running back to now going to be is going to be a Hall of Famer. So it is no doubt in my mind that the offenses are a little bit closer together than the defense for Ohio State and Michigan.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
mean, this Ohio State defense is unbelievable. I mean, what they've done the last 2 years, but this year, they are the first team since the 60s. Oklahoma, 1966, was last team to, at tops, give up more points. 17 is the most amount of points that Ohio State's given up. No team has done that since 1966, Oklahoma. Even that Georgia defense when they
Who
went,
scored 17?
Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah. So, well, I'm going to check myself again. Oh, haven't given up 16. Ohio State hasn't given up 17. And that last time team to do that was 1966 Oklahoma. So yeah, 16 was the most. Uh, it's just shocking to me what Patricia has done with this. I mean, you would think, I mean, Sonny Styles came back for his senior year. You have Caleb Downs, he had to come back. But Igbenogson, I mean, last year he was a freaking problem. And he's been great. He has been fantastic. Jermaine Matthews Jr. He didn't play much
Yeah.
last year, and he's been a. I mean, Denzel Burke. He's now in the NFL. Been pretty good with Arizona, but Jermaine Matthews Jr. to me is better than Denzel Burke was last year.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
so yeah, for this offense, it's definitely closer. I mean, if it's not Texas Tech, then it's Ohio State having the best defense
Yeah.
in college football. But let's get into keys of the game. We can hit Michigan first,
Yeah.
and we obviously saw a, a handful of turnovers against Northwestern, and that's going to be huge for any team,
More than anything.
especially
Yeah.
especially for any team. How much was it in total?
It was five turnovers, two
Yeah.
missed field goals.
So there you go. Against any team, I mean, if you want to beat Ohio State, then I mean, even having one is a problem.
I think I'm willing to bet that if Michigan turns the ball over 5 times, they will not beat Ohio State.
Probably not. There's not a lot of teams that would lose. Actually, I don't even think. Is there a team in the top 25 that would lose to?
I don't know. Probably not. And
I
well,
mean, you'd probably.
unless
I
they're
mean,
also turning the ball over that much.
and Northwestern didn't have a turnover, did they? Or did they have
No.
one?
Yeah, no, -5 in the turnover margin.
Pretty crazy. I mean, you'd probably lose to North Texas if you did that
Yep.
with that offense.
Reasonable to say that.
Yeah, but yeah, go ahead. Keys
All
to the
right,
game for
so yeah,
Michigan.
keys to win the game. Just a few here. One, limit turnovers, like you just said. Um, you can't give Ohio State the ball especially if you're in minus territory and you're going to give them the ball in plus territory. I don't. That does not play into Michigan's strengths. Or just does not bode well for Michigan. I think Ohio State's just gonna capitalize on those mistakes too well. You got to take care of the ball. Um, a punt is not the worst play in the world in this game, right? A punt is much better than an interception on third down. I know our special teams have been very iffy this year, especially with the punting and punt return, but um, you just can't turn the ball over. All right. And then establishing the run, obviously Ohio State, I think they're the second highest rated statistically um, run defense in the entire country. I think Texas Tech might be one or someone else is one. But you have to find a way to establish the run. Obviously, I believe in our run blocking. I believe in our running backs. Like you said, the last 23 games or whatever it was that you said, the team
Yeah,
that wins the
23.
rushing battle is the one that wins the game, right? Like you
Yep.
can't be I don't think any team is playing their best ball when they can only pass the ball, even if it's an elite passing attack, right? You look at like why Alabama has lost games, but especially Michigan, like we don't have the passing game to be able to beat in Ohio State without a consistent rushing attack, especially because a lot of our best plays are off play action and things like that that require the run game to be having some success. So that's huge. You got to find a way to get that going. I think Sharon Moore and Chip Lindsey will have some creative ways. Like these last few weeks have been very vanilla in terms of the schemes that we're running in the run game. I think you're going to see some more like gap scheme and ways to be a little more creative there. And then lastly, I just wrote don't flinch. Like this Michigan team has played in a lot of close games this year, and I think that helps us. I think that helps us with handling pressure, and I've been impressed with the way that our young guys have been able to handle that pressure. But this is the first time a lot of these guys will be playing in this rivalry. Pretty much most of these guys, even if they were here last year, they didn't play meaningful snaps in this game, right? So the key is you just if you go down, right, if you go down 7-0, you gotta be able to respond, right? You can't freeze, and the environment is going to play into Michigan's favor, like you talked about earlier, right? At home, I think it's supposed to snow, so flashbacks to the 2021 game. But yeah, you got to be able to handle pressure, and that starts with your quarterback, Bryce Underwood. We'll see. He said at the beginning of the year that nobody's ever seen a freshman like him. Prove it. You can prove it this weekend. You can show that you're really about it. So yeah, I'm just super excited. I think last year, I think it had to be an absolute miracle for Michigan to win, and Ohio State had to play one of their worst games in order for Michigan to win. I don't feel that way this year at all. I think Michigan's best is good enough to beat Ohio State. Now, Ohio State's best likely beats Michigan. I totally agree with that, but yeah, I like playing at home. I like Michigan's shot here. So,
Yeah, I mean that leads me right into say Bo Jackson's staying consistent. He has 300-yard games in the last four matchups that Ohio State has had, and 23 straight games in this matchup. The team with the most rushing yards comes up on top, and I would not be surprised if that goes to 24. And what that means, the O-line having to play their best ball as well. Now, can you win by passing the ball? Yes, they have done that several times this year, especially earlier in the season when the run game was at its worst, when James Peoples and C.J. Donaldson were getting most of the snaps, and that's completely changed because Bo Jackson and Isaiah West are now leading in carries in the second half of the season.
mhm.
And of course, you have JJ McCarthy, JJ. I have JJ here and Tate, Jeremiah Smith playing at their normal pace.
Yeah.
You've seen big plays by both of them highlight reels, and you've also seen them playing by the numbers and you know having a 7-yard gain, then running the ball 14-yard gain. It's some teams like Washington erased that 50-yard pass that they had four times against Penn State. So that's gonna be a question for Michigan. What do you want to do? Are you going to trust one-on-one coverage? You can try to bracket Jeremiah.
Nope.
That's
No one-on-one coverage. That's
and
for sure.
that's the thing that and Ohio State can do that because they've played in chunk and they've played on big plays, relying on, huge gains from Julian Sayin passing it to those two guys. And of course, you have Max Clare as well, who had, his may possibly his best collegiate game, his career. And I mean, to be honest, if I'm a regular analyst looking at this game, and Ohio State's defense plays exactly like how it does this entire year, then you would assume that Ohio State wins, which I mean would make
Sure.
sense. I mean, they're
But
not,
would you agree that Michigan is also the best team that you're going to play this year? The best team that this defense is going to have to handle?
um, no, I don't.
Who's better?
I think that in open coverage, in open field, I think Washington with their playmakers is better.
Okay.
We saw that in the first quarter. In fact, first quarter with Washington, they were passing the ball pretty well. And actually, my Illinois actually comes to mind when they played, what Oregon calls NASCAR when they went to the national championship against Ohio State. That's when Ohio State's defense was the most vulnerable. So if Michigan wants to do that, then that's what Illinois did. Then that might be their best shot, on the offensive side. But if the defense plays exactly how it has, then Ohio State's going to win.
Yeah. I'm excited to see. I think a big key, about Julian saying is I talked about turnovers for Michigan, but that's equally as important for Ohio State. I think of last year to that Will Howard interception where Michigan was driving and they're in fourth and goal and they get stopped in the red zone, and then Will Howard throwing out of the back of his own end zone throws a pick that sets Michigan up again on the 4 yard line, and then they score, and that's their only touchdown of the game. Like those are points that you can't afford to spot Michigan. Like you have to force them to drive down the length of the field and be able to convert in the red zone. Obviously, that's been an issue for Michigan this whole year up until that Maryland game, and obviously that is Ohio State's biggest strength on defense.
Yeah, I mean, if Julian Saint plays that bad, then I mean, could be the result of a W or L for
Yeah.
Saint because I mean that's the quarterback's job. I mean, you can't throw interceptions, you know, in your own end zone. I mean, you would lose. They would lose to Tulane. They lose to JMU in that game. So I mean, if Julian Saint does that, then yeah, Michigan they'll win. But if you're just assuming that both teams are going back and forth, I just think that if Ohio State's offense on, I think that just will be a problem for Michigan.
Yeah, Ohio State can outscore Michigan's offense, I think. But this is definitely the game where you have like we're talking about it. This is actually a really good quarterback battle. Something I don't think is being talked about a whole lot. At least not yet. I think this is the game where you have to just give Bryce Underwood the keys. Like just hand him the reins. Say, and probably throw a lot of quarterback design runs in there. I think that's part of the way that we'll get some creativity in the run game. Right? Like you live and die in this game by Bryce Underwood, I think. And I think the coaches understand that.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't run, then I don't see a way of them winning, especially on the offensive side.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ohio State has done a great job containing mobile quarterbacks. If Michigan can find a way to, you know, get Ohio State in a vulnerable spot in that, and Arvo Reese will be the spy for Ohio State like he's done the entire year. But if Bryce Underwood can't do that, then again, that limits your offense to only passing, and Bryce Underwood's still a huge, that's a development that he still
Yeah.
needs,
Yeah. Absolutely.
obviously. So 9.5. Are we doing game predictions? Are we calling this?
Yeah, we could do game predictions. Is it 9.5? I thought it was 11.5.
It has gone up. It has gone down. It's gone up.
Okay.
It was at 12.5 at one point, 11.5, then to 10.5. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it went down to 8.5 close to game time. But I think that 9.5. If I'm really just thinking about the players on the field, I'm gonna go with Ohio State covering the spread. To- If they, I mean, it'll be late if they eventually might get to 11 points, 12 points. But if these teams play at their best or just play normal ball, I mean, Ohio State winning by 10 wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. I can't say it would surprise me either, but I'm not picking against my guys. I trust them. I trust them in the big house. I'm taking Michigan 23, Ohio State 21 on a Dominic Zavada walk-off field goal.
Yeah, I don't know if I want uh Jaden Fielding to be kicking the ball anymore against Michigan because
I
he
would
cost
love,
the game.
dude, I give this kid infinite eligibility. Please keep him around. I
It,
love, I
it,
love that guy.
it's shocking to me when, like, just in general, and we see this in NFL. We saw Matt Gay get released by the Commanders. I mean, he hit 40. 40 is the new 50, and that's in the NFL, but 30 is the new 40 for college. I mean, and you're seeing guys in the MAC hit 50.
Yeah,
You just saw a 68 yarder in the NFL. I mean, this is so it's shocking that a program like Ohio State has trouble finding a long range kicker, but it could be the consistency with 35 and under. Because, I mean,
yeah,
this year, I think he's missed one. That's been I think it was around 38. That's it.
yeah. Dominic Zavada has actually missed a ton in kind of that medium, like shorter range. So he's actually been not quite as productive as he was last year. So
That has surprised me because I think he saw him miss one against Maryland, right?
he did. Yeah, he missed another one against Maryland. I think it was from
Yeah.
38, something like that.
hmm So maybe that's why Fielding has kept his job for Ohio State because of just that medium range. But when you get into long range, I mean, I was at the game against Tennessee. It was
Really can't kick it
cold.
that far.
It was shocking that they didn't go for Hail Mary instead
Yeah.
of a kick. I mean, it didn't even it hit like the O
He's
across.
not missing from long range. Like he can't
He can't. Yeah,
not
that's
get the
right.
ball there.
He can't get there. And that the strength is the issue. So that's probably. I mean the I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but his consistency is probably fine, and that's why he's stayed there. But he is a senior, so this will be the last time Fielding will be playing in a regular season game. Which I checked the comments because they do kind of the posts for each of the seniors. He's the one guy I checked, and just don't check the comments, kid.
Yeah,
Like, I'm sure I heard he's a great guy. I probably is,
I'm
but
sure he
man,
is. But yeah,
that is no one cares in Columbus. I mean, you're pretty much a robot when it comes like you're a football player. You're not a student athlete. You're definitely not a student. You're just a football player, and people probably only see if you only see him on the field. You don't see him in your class, but maybe a few hundred people do, but
yeah. Do you think
no one
people would even
cares.
recognize him like on campus?
Maybe. I mean, that's how diehard.
He looks ordinary.
If diehard fans like
Yeah,
some
fair
people
enough.
that I know that are at that school probably would, but I mean, if you saw Jeremiah Smith, you would know. Caleb Downs, you would know.
Yeah,
But I mean, I guess that's true. Like, well, that's kind of why I mentioned class because I mean, if you the professor's saying your name, then you're gonna know.
yeah,
But
fair enough.
the regular fan for Ohio State, definitely not. Which probably goes for his benefit.
Yeah, probably.
But are you gonna be home for this?
I'll be at school. Yeah,
Got-
so
Gotcha.
I'll be
Yeah,
watching
we.
here with my girlfriend, and she doesn't like the side of me like that watches Michigan sports, but because I stress her out too much. But I'm gonna try to be calm. I'm at least like in the opening series of the game. Like I'm gonna try to just enjoy it. Like it's gonna be it's just a great scene, and it's just awesome. So Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm hyped. I can't wait.
Yeah, another ranked matchup between Ohio State and Michigan, and also just in general, Michigan has to win to get in.
Hmm.
Luckily for Ohio State, that's not the case, but obviously you want to beat your rival. Uh, but it's good to see that. It's good to know at least that Ohio State will be playing more football, with this 14 format. And I mean, there's pros and cons when you think about it, because in a way, one could say this doesn't matter as much for Ohio State. Because if Ohio State lost this game for the 14 playoff, they might be out. But just in general, I would probably say the intensity in general probably has gone down for all rivals across the board. And it's unfortunate because you can lose, but obviously the pro to that is you can lose games, you can make mistakes, you can still win a national championship like we saw Ohio State do last year. But just in general, the rivalry might have gone down a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I still think this is going to be as intense as it always is. I
yeah,
think
I
I
mean,
think I think this game just supersedes any of the national landscape. Even like it was intense last year. Michigan season was over by far. Michigan season was over in October. Like in that game still it just I think as I do not like Ohio State, you do not like Michigan, but the one thing I will say is like Ohio State being good makes the rivalry that much better. And so I hope that both these teams can just continue to be powers in the Big Ten, and this game can have as much meaning as it does right now because it's a lot of fun every single year.
yeah, and something that I started with and will end with is the best rivalry in sports. This is going to be a great game between these two programs that absolutely hate each other, which makes it even better. But look, good luck. I mean, this is great for college football, and we'll see.
Good luck.
Best man will win. But it
Yeah,
was good
might
talking to you.
be. Yeah, don't know how much we'll be talking after the game on Saturday, as we usually do every college football Saturday. But um,
Yes, I will. I will see you before in person before this game
true, that's
starts,
true.
so we can
True.
be friends then, and then
Yeah,
that will change. But
yes,
for
it will.
24 hours. All right. Well, it was good talking to you again. The
All right.
third episode of Step Brothers is now
Yeah. Should
finished.
we should we shout out? Yeah, shout out. Or not shout out, but go follow us on Twitter
Yep.
at stepbros_pod. We'll put it in the description. Both of us tweet a lot on there about our games, and I'm tweeting a lot about Michigan basketball now. Now that they're getting going, they play San Diego State in about like 15 minutes from when we're recording this, actually. So excited to watch that. But yeah, go follow us on there. You can follow us on either of our Instagram pages too. That'll also be in the description. And yeah, show some love. There was definitely, I think, some growth from last week's episode, from our first episode, and we're gonna try to keep getting it rolling and putting out content for you guys. So
Yeah, for sure. No, this was good. It was good, and good that we can come together before the most hated rivalry in sports. But I'm Wesley Clark. Go follow me, the Wes Clark Show, and go follow Andrew dot Hayden.
hmm.
Right? Yeah, there you
Yep.
go. I got it. All right. But yeah, no, I appreciate everyone listening. Go Twitter, everything, and leave a comment. Let us know what you think about this game
Yeah.
and who you have, covering the spread. What do you think the fourth quarter will look like? And just the playoff in general, the outlook of the playoff. But yeah, thank you. I'll see you guys next
Yeah.
week.